Hello guys, this is Akshay Daga, and in this video we will talk about logging in Python. So in any of the Python courses you learn logic, what are the syntax and all those things, but generally they skip this logging part, which is very important. If you are going to work in Python professionally in any of the company, you will see logging is compulsory. Why? So without wasting time, let's start. I'm sharing my screen. So right now you can see a Jupyter notebook. So here till now in all of my earlier videos, you have seen there are multiple cells. Okay. So there are multiple cells. In each cell, we write some piece of code, 4-5 lines, and then if some error is, and we use print function so that if so we use print function for debugging operation, and at the same time, if error is there, whatever value we have entered, whether that value and after the some operation, whether whatever is expected value, uh, like what the output is expected or not, we use print function for that. We print that whatever after each cell there is, after running that code. If I use print function over here, you can see if I write a equal to 10 and I want to check whether a really got the value of 10, so I'll use the print function and I'll pass a within that print function. And this is a console. After each cell there is a console where whatever message I pass in print function, that's get printed, right? But this is for a development purpose. Jupyter notebook is generally used at the time of development stage. Okay, but let's say you wrote a piece of code, okay, a really working piece of code in Python. Then you wrote it in development environment. Generally what happens in project, whatever is there in development environment gets migrated into a production environment where the developer don't have access to that code. Okay, and that code will get executed every day on daily basis as per the scheduled time. And it might happen that on a particular day some error happened, like there was some error, and now you get a mail that okay, whatever code you have written and that is not working properly, and in production you are getting error. So basically any developer doesn't get access in production mode, okay, in many of the project. And if you use print function there, whatever is there written in print function, that will get printed on the console while running that code, but developer will not or will never get access to that console. At least you will not get access to that console in a runtime, and print function print it in a runtime and then it goes. There is no any storage for that. So for that there is a logger, that is logging method comes into a picture. So instead of printing a message on console that is on runtime and not storing it, you will use the logging method. So what logging method does, wherever you use print function and you print value of a variable or a particular message, instead of that you will use logging. You will create a logger file. So whenever your code will run at whatever time, one logger file will be generated, and whatever you are printing using a print function, instead of using a print function you will use another function for logging, and you will pass the same messages in that logging function, so that whatever is message printed, like written within that logging function, will be logged into a file. So that let's say your code is right now running in a production and it got failed. Okay, then when you will get a mail that there is an error in your code, your code is getting failed in a production, within that mail generally there is a practice, they will send you a log file, so that by scrolling that log file you will get the idea at which line your code failed, what was the reason for that failure, and how you can handle that, so that after going through that log file you can make some changes in your code and you can again push it to production, so that that error will be resolved. From the next time onward you won't face that kind of error. So that is why the logging is used. That was the need of logging. And generally in all of your code, make practice to use logging instead of print. Okay, at least if you are working on some project, then make sure you are using logging. That's fine. Now let's start with what is logging. In this cell 1 I have written something, I'll come to that afterwards. And one more thing I forgot to mention, in all of my videos whatever I write on my screen, all that code will be available for you. Just go to description and you will find it there, you will find a link there. Okay, so for logging you need to import one package, that is import logging. Okay, once that is done, now you can use it. Now for logging, just like you use print function, for logging there is a function that is logging dot. There are different methods, like all those 5 methods: debug, info, warning, error, and critical. You can log different kind of messages in that log file. Okay, that message can be log.info, and you can pass whatever message. This is info message. Okay, similarly I'll just copy this and replicate it 5 times. Instead of info, there can be logging dot, one second, I'll start from the scratch. So it is debug, then logging.info, then logging.warning. I'm writing it in a particular sequence. I'll tell you what is the meaning of that sequence. Error, and logging.critical, right? So there are different levels, right? If you are printing something, if you are logging some message just for an info, then you will use logging.info. You will pass some message. If you want to log some message as a warning message, then you will write logging.warning. If you are passing some message as an error, like if some error comes, then you should write that message as an error message in your log file. Then you will use logging.error. And for some critical kind of situation, if you want to log some message, then you will use logging.critical. So this is a proper sequence. First of all, very basics level is, very lower level is debug, for debugging purpose, in order to check like what is the value of variable after operation, what is the value of variable. So that can be done using info, debug, or info also. Then there is a info, then there is a warning, on top of that there is error, and on top of that there is critical. I'm just running this block. Okay, you can see warning, error, and critical messages. One second, here I should change this message also. This is debug message, this is info message, this is warning message, this is error message, and this is critical message. Okay, I'm just running it once again. You can see out of those 5, only 3 were visible. Why? There is a reason for that, I'll tell you. So basically right now I just ran it, but I haven't mentioned what is the file, what is the name of file where it should get logged. Fine, so I should do that. The correct sequence should be import logging, then mention the name of file where you want to log it, then you can use all these functions. That is a correct sequence. So I'll do one thing, I'll insert a cell here, and how to mention the name of file. The syntax for that is logging.basic config. Okay, basic config, and here you can pass file name equal to, I'll say first log.log. Generally, just like .txt file, the extension for log file is .log. You can pass any other also, but I'm writing first log.log. Before that, I'll insert one more column. One second. Here I'll show you ls. So right now, if I run this, you can see there is no any file named as first log, okay, available. Now I'll run this code. Okay, before doing this, I'll just restart my kernel. Restart. Why I'm doing that? Because whenever we do import operation, if you are doing import operation again and again, it is always better way to restart, especially for Jupyter notebook. So I'm running top to bottom once again. First of all, I'm doing import operation. Then I'll run the ls command to check what all files are present in my current directory. So for now, you can see there is no any first log.log available. Is it available? It might be because I ran it earlier. So I can't see it for now. What I'll do, I'll run this. Okay. Then I'll run ls once again. Let's check whether it is available or not. Log. I see, you can see first log, this file is present now. It might be present earlier also because I ran it multiple times. Okay, and after that if I run this, for now you can see uh, the size of that file is 0 because the file is created, it is an empty file, we haven't logged any of the messages in that, and I'm running this. Once this is run, now all those messages, actually all 5 messages should be logged into that logging file, right? That file, log file. But let's check whether that is the case or not. For that, what I'll do, uh, one second, here I can refresh this. Where is that file? First log.log. Okay, that is the file. You can see out of those 5 messages, only 3 messages were logged into a file. Now why is that? Because by default, whenever you write this function, I'll just remove this ls command. It is instead of removing, I'll just start from the scratch from here. So I'll do import once again, and then I'll do this thing. Fine. So before running that, I'm just restart my kernel. Fine. Now let's see. Whenever you write basic config, there is one parameter that is file name. There is another parameter that is log level. Log level, that is present or not. What is the correct name of the parameter? It is just a level, not log level. It is level. Okay. You can mention log level as a, let's say I'll mention it as logging.info. Look at the format. Info is written in capital. That is a format. Okay. And if I do that, and if I print all these messages once again, you can see. And if I check this file now, refresh, you can see earlier 3 were there. Now 4 messages were printed, right? Including info. Now, whenever you don't mention any level, by default, the default level is this warning level. So when the level is set to warning, then warning and whatever is above that, like error and critical, are always above warning level, right? So all those messages will be printed by default. If you set your level to info, then whatever is all the levels equal to info and above info, that is info, warning, error, critical, all those will be printed. If you set your level to debug, then all kind of messages will be logged. If you set your level to error, then only error and critical will be logged. If you set your level to critical, then only critical messages will be logged. You got my idea. You got the idea. Okay. Now I'll again interrupt it. Instead of info, I'll set debug. Okay. And what I'll do, I'll run this. I'll run this and let's check the file. Now you can see, you should look from line number 8 onwards. You can see from 8 onwards, it logged all the messages: info, warning, error, critical. I'm not sure why it didn't do the print the debug message. The syntax is correct. Let me check. If I write something like this, no, it should be small. Debug, that is fine. I don't know why I'm not able to. Okay, stop. Import. Let's check. Somehow it is not able. I'm not able to print debug message. I must be doing some level logging.debug. Once again, I'll do shift levels. Once again, how to set log level to debug. in Python. Input logging, log level is info. Log get logger, my logger info. Okay, fine, that is fine. Log.debug. I must be doing something wrong. Actually, I never use debug mode. That's the reason. There must be some syntactical error. Import info message, basic config, set level, logging.debug. It is for some. Okay. Level debug. I need to check that. Okay, let's move on. I'll do one thing. I'll change the file name because there might be some kernel issue also. I'm just restart the kernel. Let's check. I'll start from here. Now at the beginning only I said logging.debug. Okay, the syntax is same na. Level debug, logging.debug, spelling is also right. Okay, I'm running this and I'm doing this. Let's check what happens. This file. Yeah, okay, fine. So there was no error at all. It was some Jupyter issue while restarting the kernel. If I make any changes in this basic configuration afterwards, it doesn't capture that. Sometimes it happens. So it was good that you got to see this kind of problem. This kind of problem happens. Okay. It was just a restart issue when I changed the file name, which was not existing earlier, and by default I set the level to logging.debug. It printed the debug also. So and you can see log first log 2.log. You can see all 5 messages. Okay, so that part is done. Now because generally whenever you create a log file, your log file doesn't look like this. Okay, your log file, if you check in a real log file, you will see there will be some timestamp, and the reason for that is at which time your error occurred. Maybe if there are 2 steps in your code, then you need to check. Okay, my sometimes it happens that your code run for very long time and then it goes out of memory or something like that, and then you get error and that error gets logged into a file. So because of timestamp you get the idea, okay, my code ran for 2 hours or 8 hours and then it got out of memory, and that is a issue. So sometimes you can fix that because you get the idea, okay, it ran for long time. If your log file is something like that, you won't get any of the idea whether at how much time your code took for those 2 steps and this kind of idea. So generally you can add the format also, in which format your log file should be there. So format can be like this. I'll close these 2 files and I'll also change the name, that is second log.log. Okay, so there is a new parameter that is nothing but a format. I'll write format equal to okay, so format can be given in a string format. So first of all, I want timestamp for each line. Each line should start with timestamp. So for that you should write something like this: ASC time S. Then if I want space, so I'll write space. Then I want to print a level level name. Level name means that warning error, that is level name. So I'll write something like this: percent level name, right? Yes, then space. Then I want to print the message, whatever message I am providing. Message. Okay, if I do this, I'm just stopping the kernel, interrupting the kernel. Fine. And I'm starting my code from this cell. This is done. And this is done. Okay. Now let's check this file, second log. So if I go there, I'm refreshing this second. 1 second. What? Where is the file? Restart and clear. Like restart. Just write second dot log, ran it. Let's check whether that second file is present or not. First, okay. Now this is present. Let's see. Okay, now this is the new format. See, you can see this is the timestamp up till here. Then there is a space, then log level, then space, then whatever message you have written that is present over there. Fine. Instead of that, if I want to change, make some changes, like I want some format, something like this, I can do that. So now just instead of just printing messages like that, I'll write some logical code. I'll just comment this out, and no, I'll not comment it, or I'll just not run it. I'll not run it. So let's say I take value a equal to 10, b equal to 0, c equal to a by b. Then so here I'll write logging.info is equal to a, comma b is equal to b. Okay, then logging info operation started, right? Let's, if there are multiple operation, then I'll write this in try block. Okay, then I'll say if this happens, then I'll say logging.info division is done successfully, right? If there is error, then what I'll say, except, I'll say logging dot error, logging, I'll say exception as e. I'll say logging dot error, and I'll say error occurred while doing division. And there is one more function which is available for exception, that is logging dot exception, and here I'll write something like exception handled. Okay, something like that. So let's run this, and you know, because b is 0, there is going, like error is going to get, that is division by 0 error. Let's run this. So before that, I'll stop the kernel, restart the kernel. Okay, I'll just import logging, or I can do this. I'll insert a cell. Fine, that will be a good idea. I'll just restart, and I'll start from here. Fine. Okay, it worked. Now this, you can see there is an error message over here, but we are not concerned about that. Let's check the file. Now you can see from here onwards, everything is added. So since we have set debug level, so from line number 6, you can see debug pickle loaded, from where the file is loaded and everything, it printed everything because we have set our mode as a debug mode. Then info operation started. Okay, then error occurred while doing division, then exception handled. Before that, I have added one more info file, and that is this, and it didn't work the way I wanted, so I can change this. Right, so what I'll do, I don't know how to do this, but there must be way. I know one of the way. Okay, A comma B. Let's check this once again. String empty expression not allowed. Fine. A B. Run this. Okay, now it worked. Okay, so let's check this now. Okay, now you can see the info level A equal to 10, B equal to 0 is also printed over here. Okay, this is a one of the format. If you write F, whatever string you want to pass, if you write F, and wherever is open curly brace, and like if you want to print the value of variable, you can pass the variable name in open and close curly braces like this. This is A is a variable, B is a variable. So whatever is the value of A and B will be printed at this placeholder. Okay, you can read about it separately. So this is a way. If I change the level to just warning, then you know that only warning message, error message, and critical message will be printed. Exception message will also be printed over there, and you can see whatever exception came, that is also printed in a log file automatically. Fine. If I try to do something like this, I'm not sure whether it will work or not, but let's try this. If I do something like E, right, let's see what happens, whether it work or not. I think it won't work, it will throw some error. Instead of that, we can do something like F and exception handled, and I'll write E over here. Okay, let's try this. If I run this and refresh this, you can see it, like same thing happened, providing that E just written this extra piece of line division by 0, because E is a variable and E has the value that which error occurred, so that is printed over here using E. Otherwise, whatever is the error, because of this logging.exception, whatever error comes, that is already automatically get logged into that log file. So this was all about logging. So you should always use logger. This is logging method in your code, especially when you are creating a project, maybe minuscule project, but you should always use logging instead of printing. So that's it, guys. All this code will be available to you. Just go to description and click on the link. And I hope you got some information, new information from this video. So if that is true, please do each and everything you can do to encourage me. Like, share, comment, subscribe, do everything you can do to encourage me. This is Akshay Daga signing off. Thank you. Bye bye.